Hit the button. I think it's time for another fishing report. A lot's been going on. First and foremost, I think George has a few days available for November steelheading. Hunter has a whole bunch of weekends available. So I do have somebody available if you want to fish on weekends. It'd be probably steelheading very soon. We're right on the cusp of that, but I'll talk about that in a bit. So let's get going on. Right now, as you can tell, I'm sitting down on the Douglas and Salmon Run, which is where I fish a lot, especially in low water conditions like this year. Obviously, the water conditions have not changed. The water flows. We did get an inch and a half of rain a few days ago. Understand that was just maintenance. We had a temporary pulse of maybe a 20-30% increase with a little bit of brief runoff, which really is not going to amount to anything. So we're still at the 185 release from the dam, and we're still in pretty critical low water. I really don't see us changing for the foreseeable future. So the other thing we've had about it, let's see, today we had some frost when I'm shooting this video. We had a very frosty morning. You can see I still got some clothes on. That frost, it really caused the water temperatures to drop in the last, I would have to say, 72 hours. We probably had about an 18-degree temperature drop. A few days ago it was 68. It was hot out here. This morning at sunrise it was 50. So we had about an 18-degree. Right now it's getting warm and we're bumping back up. So a little bit of a thermal shock I think today's going on with the fishing. So get on through the fishing. The salmon are consistently running. I've been seeing a lot of afternoon stuff. Probably today it's going to be more late afternoon. We'll probably see a good push of fish come in. That's been pretty consistent every day. At some point during the day we'll see a bit of a push of fish. The whole low river is definitely getting full. They're doing fairly well upriver with salmon. The salmon are starting to spawn consistently. The spawning pace has started to pick up this week, and I'm seeing a lot more spawning activity. The eggs are getting in the system. There has been a rumor of some odd steelhead being caught. I saw one on yesterday. None of our guys have gotten into a steelhead yet. There's some stray brown trout around, but don't count on brown trout. So that's kind of what's going on with the steelhead. Keep in mind, usually I figure around the 15th, all of a sudden they just show up. So I could come down one day and it's just a salmon grind, and all of a sudden, bam, we're in the steelhead. It happens that fast. So any moment we can start seeing those guys really showing in them significant numbers. The other thing I want to mention is the upper fly zone. Obviously the lower fly zone is still closed. The hatchery does have a pile of fish in it, by the way. But the upper fly zone has a bunch of fish in it. I haven't been up there, but I've been seeing photos of both Atlantic salmon, and ironically, I've seen probably 50, 60 photos of pink salmon. So actually there's some pink salmon up there of all things. Don't ask me where they came from. I have no clue. But there's a bunch of pink salmon up there. So if you want kind of a little bit of variety, the upper fly zone has it. The Chinooks, there's some colors, and some pinks, and occasional Atlantic. It's kind of interesting. We haven't seen any pinks caught down here, but somehow a jag of them got by us and they're up there. And they're grabby. They like things that are either pink and orange or orange and white, something like that. They like color. Kind of like the cohos, and they like to eat. So the guys are finding a whole bunch of pinks. So anyways, down here on the Douglaston and in the rest of the river, the fishing, like I said, has been consistent. Mid-river, like Sportsman's, Pineville, there's definitely consistent fishing. Decent numbers of fish are up there. Altmar's got plenty of fish down through there. So if you're the rest of the mid to upper river, they're just scattered through now, pretty consistent. So if you find some decent holding water, you're going to find a few fish. That's kind of what's going on with that. So we're just chugging along. My flies are all blown over. Got to pick them up off the ground. But we've been starting to do, there we go. Let the camera, hopefully the camera will focus on it. the purple egg-sucking leech. This has been, I don't know, I couldn't catch a cold on purple up until this year. And then all of a sudden, these things are starting to work. That's on a 4. I usually time my egg-sucking leeches on 4s. And the nice thing about running these things is there's some steelhead around, they'll grab it. So it's a good, for who it may concern, fly. Obviously, this thing is still doing its job. This is on a 4. However, they seem to like the 6s a little bit better. But I got a 4 in my hands. The good old standard olive woolly bugger still getting it good. And we are starting to run some darker leech patterns. This just happens to be a hot bead bugger, which I can use as an egg-sucking leech. And we're starting to get a few fish on this. It's funny, it's the purples and the pinks and all that is still really working good. Some of the standards like the Raider bugger and all that, we're getting an odd fish. And just a quick rundown with gear. This happens to be my 7-weight switch. I don't know why I got that fly on, but it's on. And with a Scandy rig, most people prefer 8s. I don't often use 8s for salmon fishing, but I just like fishing this rod. It's nice and light, doesn't beat me up. And I did a lot of fishing today with this thing. This is since I'm in a bigger pool here and the fish are getting laid out, this is a 12.5 foot spay with a Scandy. And I'm running a density compensated tip that's about 12 foot on this thing. And this has been working really good today. You can see the tip right here off the end of a Scandy. And the tip I had the best success with in here today has been that 3. The fly line end is 3 seconds sink and the fly end is a 5-second sink. And that seems to be working pretty good for me today. So that's been the tip. Of course, with tips, you constantly got to experiment. So that's been kind of the rod arsenal. Haven't really changed much. This thing's got a lot of action. You can see what fly I've been using today and having success with. So that's kind of what's been going on with the flies. Once again, I bumped into a lot of you folks that stopped and said hello and introduced yourself to watch the channel. Thank you. I really enjoy meeting you. And other than that, my feeling is we're going to probably see another 2 weeks of pretty solid showing of salmon. The lake guys out in the lake are still getting them, trolling around. So it tells me that there's still plenty sitting out there waiting to come in. So I think we probably, with this low water, often that drags out the run. And so I think we have at least another 2 weeks of solid shillock flow before we start to see a notable wind down. And once again, I expect steelhead to show up at any time. We are seeing a few strays coming in. So it looks like that hopefully the steelhead will be right on time and we should see them in the next few days. So other than that, probably the next time you see me, I'll be talking about some egg flies. But once again, hope it's helpful. See you on the river, folks. Good fishing to you. This is Jay at JPEG Guides and Lost River Fishing. We are a year-round fly fishing catch and release guide service. We fish the Lake Ontario tributaries, and then during the spring and the summer we also fish the inland trout streams, classic dry fly fishing. During the heat of the summer, we will do the warm water fishing for bass and pike. If you're interested in any of our outings or have any questions, please feel free to email us at fish@lostriversfishing.com. Hope to hear from you, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact us.